Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Saha Veeryam Karamavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्परं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We begin with this paragraph, our vasanas, our problems. One page. You know, it is said that in the Mahabharata, Duryodhana asks Bhagavan Krishna, why is it that? I mean, I knew so many things that I should not be doing, but I couldn't help myself. He knows that Bhagavan Krishna can do some things. He has that inner knowing, you know. But he says, why was it that I couldn't choose you over your army? I was very happy when Arjuna asked for you and I got your army. So what is it that compels us this way? Sometimes, you know, in spite of ourselves, we know what we are saying, doing, or even thinking may not be correct, but something compels us to do it. So we will see. That's why here Gurudev says we must learn to discipline ourselves. Constant and alert vigilance over our own thoughts and actions is the price we are compelled to pay for the greater achievements and finer accomplishments. If you do not want to be defeated in life, if you want to achieve great, then this is the price you have to pay. That constant vigilance, discipline, you have to be alert, and some control is required. This comes with our own efforts. Now we'll just see why this compulsion from within to do otherwise. None of us want to be that. So, in our Shastras and in our culture, there is even the language, vasanas. We speak of vasanas. What is vasana? It is this inner making of us. Each of us has a particular nature. And this makes us go and seek certain experience. Because as we are in this body, we have taken birth from the time we are born. There is something innate in us as though telling us what we must seek. So even a little baby, a toddler also, if you give him something to eat, if he doesn't like it, he's not going to. What makes him say, I don't like this? I mean, he doesn't say it, but he doesn't want it. And there are some things he wants. It comes from our vasanas. Now here, we shall read in this paragraph, because Gurudev has explained it very well. From what has been stated so far, it is clear that if we do not care to cultivate a system of order in our inner equipments of experiences, and do not discipline the outer sense organs of perception and action, then, like an untuned instrument, we will get a clamor of noises, never the liquid melody, the dancing rhythm, the lilting notes, and the enchanting harmony of a life lived dynamically, rich with its successes and achievements. A nice melody with words here you will find, but this is so true. If we cannot control our sense organs of perception, what are the sense organs of perception? This we learn in the 4th and 5th standard itself in school. We see through our eyes, we smell through our nose, we hear with our ears. So this is sense organs of perception. Why are they called sense organs of perception? It gives us the sense of the external world. And that is how we experience the world. Something smells good or bad, some visuals are good, some are not good, shapes, colors, even the air we feel on the skin, it enhances our experience. This is sense organs of perception. Sense organs of action are basically how we act. We move the legs, hands, we speak, isn't it? All of this is happening. Procreation happens. Even, evacuation happens to the skin, and we have the, so these are, and he says, we must be able to control and discipline also otherwise it's not going to be easy. A problem in life is a challenge to be faced. The outer problems created by the arrangement of happenings and the pattern of the available environment are all actually interpreted by the mind, judged by the intellect. Then only responses arise from us towards them. Behind the hands and legs, we have a set of intricate and highly sensitive equipments which evaluate and judge the outer world for us, and finally discriminate and decide what our outer equipment of action must do in response to the challenge ahead. These are the mind-intellect equipments. The beauty and strength, smartness and alertness of the mind-intellect decide the quality of the individual's performance in life. In short, his success in life. So you see, these sense organs of perception is there. It is telling you everything about the outer world. We often relate it to being like the reporters, of a newspaper, of the media. So what do? So each one is given a beat. So you are a reporter, you are a crime reporter, you cover the crime news in the city. And then you cover the political scenario. Somebody is given the job of the weather. You talk about the weather, what is the weather saying? You do sports, right? So they're given their functions. So what do these reporters have to do? They have to go out into the city, find out if anything has happened. What is the breaking news for? So this is their job. So the reporter who is given the job of sports will find out about the sports events only. He's not going to be bothered about what is the weather forecast or what is the political scenario there. He's going to do his beat. He is going to go collect this football match happened and that cricket match happened. And what happened there? He will bring back the news and give it to the editor. That's his job. It's done. Then the editor has to decide. So it's like this. The sense organs of perception just gather all information and then hand it over to the mind intellect equipment editor. Now, this editor has to sit and decide what he has to give emphasis to, because what is his objective? He has a purpose. He has to sell the newspaper. So it has to make real news. Now he is anticipating there is a great cricket match, so we must cover that. So that day, the sports reporter will get a lot of coverage. He will be the important. Another day, there is some great political, happening, agenda that has happened, and suddenly some government is overthrown or something. That makes news. So he has to decide. So here, whatever experiences we are going through, it is this mind intellect which is sitting as an editor deciding from its past experiences and from all the information it has, how to deal with the external challenges, and then it will tell, okay, now you do this, now you do this. So hands and legs work, act from that, coming from there. Therefore, this editor has to be a fine editor, isn't it? A great thing has happened, political, or maybe it has, storm has rushed in, and he's talking about some, everyone's waiting for that newspaper to come, and you say, what has happened? No, the chief minister has been overthrown. Let us get what is going to happen in the future of our state. And he says, hardly anything is there, and he's reporting something. The weather maybe will be normal in the next 1 days. So what is this? Is that newspaper going to sell? They say, hey, these people don't seem to know their job. It's not going to work. But if you have to have a successful newspaper running, you have to bring that, isn't it? So your successes in life will also be met only when the mind and intellect are in absolute tune and working. In order that the intellect may come to the right decision, it must have the correct data. But the reading of the outer problem by our unbridled senses is often nulled by the unsteady, confused, and even severely disintegrated state of the mind. The mind gathers the senses reports and presents them to the intellect to decide how, as an individual, it should respond to the external challenges. When the mind is unsteady, the data presented becomes confused, a misinterpreted jumble. And the intellect, even if its decisions are right, is not effective in solving the problem, as its decisions are based upon false data. This is a big problem. We are all facing today fake news. No? When news is given to us, first we have to decide whether it is real or fake. This was never the problem with. What has happened here? Because the data presented, very confusing. One is not sure. So when it is being reported this way and the mind is not clear and has presented it in a different way, this happens to us, isn't it? Somebody criticized me. But if it's the person I don't like at all, for some reason, and that person passes a comment, I don't like it. The same thing said to me by my friend, whom I like very much, and her opinions matter to me. She comes and tells me, I wanted to talk to you about this, but I think if you could change your ways about this is where I am open to listening to that. It is criticism, but I am open to it. So see the mind. Now it's not about which is correct or wrong, but I am more concerned how and who is telling. That's it. then that can be a faulty, it can make the intellect take a wrong decision. So it's very important that we pay attention to this, isn't it? So in our experience in life, we find that we are what we are because of the caliber of the mental and intellectual equipment in us. The texture and quality of the mind intellect equipment in us depends upon inherent and innate tendencies or inclinations, which are called vasanas. So this is the vasana which is confusing the mind. So let us see what. When we perceive an object or try to evaluate a situation, not only do the sense organs bring in their reports and the mind compile and present to the intellect for final judgment, but the very ability of the intellect to think, to rationalize, to judge is conditioned by a factor in us which modern psychologists call the unconscious. This unconscious is composed of impressions the personality had gathered from its own thoughts and actions in the past. These impressions are called by the rishis as vasanas. We are unhappy to translate vasanas as the unconscious. They are not. We call them the unmanifest. Avyakta. It is not yet vyakta. It is not yet manifest. So what are these? This is something like we say, as he says, modern psychologists call it unconscious. When that thought occurs to you, you say, I don't know where it came from. Where did it come from? From the unmanifest, which is not yet known. That's what we call vasanas. And each of us has these vasanas. That's why in a family, you see, children born and brought up by the same set of parents. Under the same roof, they belong to the same social status. So their conditioning, they belong to the same religion. Their conditionings are very similar. They're not changed because everything is the same. Economic status below, religious background below, whatever. And yet you will see both the children are very different. One is very interested in music. The other one is very interested in sports. It could be like that. Their nature could be very different. One is absolutely introverted. The other one is totally extrovert. We'll say, my God, are these two children born to me? Very different in nature. What is it that's making them different? No, it's not the external, but it is the internal. Isn't it? So you must have all read this. It's a very popular foreword also. How the egg and the potato, they are put in boiling water. The potato softens and the egg hardens. How come? Boiling water is the same. Factor that is boiling them both is the same, but one becomes soft, the other becomes hard. Why? It's because what is inside. It's not the boiling water. It's the nature of who you are is what you will. So this is what is the vasana that makes up for who you are. Thus, if I am a drunkard, I have drink vasanas. And so when I see a bottle of whiskey, my reaction is to grab it immediately. While you, a perfect teetotal, will turn your face and walk away in disgust. Later, I cannot complain that I was tempted by the bottle. Really speaking, the whiskey bottle has no such powers. It is an inert object. So we see, What's made up of me will get prompted to go and have the drink or not. It has nothing to do with the whiskey bottle. These vasanas in each one of us, gathered from the past, march out into their expression first as a desire in the intellect, then as a thought in the mind, and lastly as an act at the body level. Each one of us is thus a helpless expression of our own past, recorded in us as our vasanas. These vasanas are to be intelligently exhausted or eliminated. They are first to be purified and then exhausted through appropriate actions. When the vasanas are healthy, the problems get easily solved by our correct evaluation of them and our apt counter actions. When the vasanas have ended, problems also end. Therefore, the apparent problems outside in the individual's environment are but reflections ordered by the unmanifest in him. The world is the final projection of the total vasanas playing in life. Thus, world problems or national problems are all essentially eruptions caused by the vasanas in all the individuals put together. Through individual perfections alone can world perfection be achieved. This is the declaration of all the scriptures. This is important for us. Because individually, if we have one way and we think one way, collectively, it's going to be that much more enhanced. Proportionally, it will grow. So that's why it said that true revolution can be brought about only individually. Each individual is responsible for this. Each individual owes this to himself and to the world. That's why Nisargadatta Maharaj says, the only revolution you can bring about, or even social service that you can do, is to understand this, recognize yourself, who you are in truth. Only then will there be a change. You know, the number of teams and groups at world level can come together. Have they got any peace? Even after United Nations come together, there is always power struggle there. Because the ego of the collective nations also takes over. We all think we can fight for peace and all that, but it doesn't happen. It has to be at the individual level, and only self-recognition, self-knowledge will lead you there, not other. Desires and thoughts spring forth from one's vasanas, just as sound emanates from the grooves cut on gramophone record. But man, the sovereign of all creation, possesses a singular capacity. He has the ability to stand apart from the surging desires and feelings and exercise his self-effort in choosing the right action. When this great faculty is consistently applied in the direction indicated by the spiritual scriptures, he successfully eradicates his vasanas and emerges out in his infinite stature divine. So man has this faculty, ability. He's not like the animal, which can't fight this. He can overcome. That's what the scriptures say, that's what masters say, and that's what they insist that we do, is overcome these surging desires and put in your effort to choosing the right action. This is a great faculty and this must be exercised by us. With this, we can eradicate the vasanas. So we must bring it into our conscious mind. As long as we are not conscious of our vasanas, it is going to rule you, understand? You are going to be directed by the unconscious only. The moment you bring what is in the unconscious to the conscious, then you will be able to control. And for that, we need vigilance. We need to be alert, watching ourselves, watching our thoughts. Most of us, unconscious thoughts come, desire arises, then the intellect is driven to getting what we want. And we haven't even realized that there is a space where we can control this. We have just gone and done what came to us. And then later we think, was this right? Was this correct? And if we don't like it, we regret. We say, I should have asked, I should have done. And then we learn from that so that the next time we don't make this mistake. But again, we are driven by the unconscious, by the vasanas, by what is unmanifest. Now that we know that all this arises from the unmanifest and these are my vasanas which are pushing me, then we have to check, is this required to be acted upon? Or should I find some way for it to be exhausted, eliminated, substituted, whatever it is to be done? So we must be that conscious. We come to the builders of the future. From the study of the origin of action, it appears as though one is left with no choice, but is destined to act as per one's own tendencies. This is not true in the case of human beings. So you see here, this is where Duryodhana, you know now, when Duryodhana and Arjuna went to seek Krishna's help, Arjuna sought Krishna because he wanted the right action to come through. He wanted Krishna to lead his, you can call him the higher self, the evolved soul. Whereas Duryodhana didn't know of this. This knowledge was not there with him. So this vasanas overtook him. If I have Krishna's army, my army becomes very powerful and I will easily able to win the war. His vasana stopped him from seeing the benefits of having Krishna with him. It can cloud us. So the decision he took was not the right one. So he says, even after knowing, why did I do that? No? So very often we are clouded. Vasanas will stop us from taking the road. Therefore, vigilance. Therefore, faith. Therefore, direction from the scriptures, spiritual scriptures, reading them, taking guidance from masters, from saints. They lead you to the right. The vasanas, or the effects of the past, certainly have a pull upon us who are striving in the present. Because the present is the product, effect of the entire past. Therefore, the case for destiny. Thus, the past must have its play upon us in molding us and in shaping our attitude, abilities, and efficiency. Inquiring into the working of this law of causation, the rishis of yore found that it implicitly obeys 4 essential rules in all its working. They are There can be no effect without a cause. The effect is none other than the cause itself in another form. When the cause is removed from the effect, nothing of the effect can remain. And fourth one, therefore, the cause is concurrent and inherent in the effect. The rishis further considered deeply what exactly is this stuff and nature of the cause and the effect. They finally came to realize that the play of cause and effect takes place only in the medium of our time concept. The cause is anterior in time and the effect is posterior. In short, the past is cause and the present is the effect. And the present itself becomes the cause with reference to the future. Since we exist in the present, we are not only the effect of the past, but we are also the cause for the future. Thus, we can, if we intelligently live in scientific self-discipline, become the architects of our own future. This is very important. This is so empowering. And this is why Swami Vivekananda says, you are the master of your destiny. Till now, I didn't know. So I behaved in one way and I blamed my family, my community, my planet, the vastu of my home, everything, because I am only looking out. And why didn't something work out? It's because so and so. I never looked within myself, isn't it? Now, when as a spiritual entity, spiritual being, I begin to look into it, what are the scriptures saying with what you are? Because right now, what you do, how you think, how you act is the cause of your future. Future is going to be the effect of what you're doing. Because today is the effect of what? Your own past. So if you know this today, begin today. Where you are, with what you have, start. This can be the change, the turning point. And you can change everything from today. Only if we are ready for this and prepared to do this, then we are truly the architects of our future. Otherwise, it's just going to repeat. Because mind is nothing but a bunch of thoughts, memories, experiences, and past knowledge. It's of the past only. And it will keep on replaying. Consider a log of wood floating down on a river, which is flowing at a speed of, say, 2 miles an hour. The speed of the log of wood should be then the same as the speed of the river, 2 miles an hour. Now, suppose we fix a motor on the log and start the motor to run at 10 miles an hour. The log of wood will float at 12 miles an hour down the river or 8 miles up the river. The log of wood with the motor under its captain is free to move down the river or up the river, along the left or the right bank, and the alert captain can safely negotiate it by the right or left of the obstacles on it. Yet, it cannot escape the rate of flow of the river. Think, Gurudev says, all the time. Think. Wants to polish our intellect. The animal and the plant kingdoms, like pieces of logs, merely float down the river of life without any freedom to order any direction or to supply any definite purpose to the pilgrimage. Man, however, has, as the log with motor, has this rational discriminative intellect, and under the captaincy of his intelligent direction, he will have the freedom to go down the river or up the river to avoid all obstacles and to reach his chosen destination. The effects of the past upon us is called destiny, prarabdha, in other words. And the new initiative that we undertake intelligently and strive for to be accomplished in the future constitute free will or purushartha. So every action that you take now, what you have to face is prarabdha. The experiences, the situations brought about, each one is facing a bundle of these experiences we have to go through. Because we have created for ourselves that. It's an effect of the past. But now, the moment you realize that I'm going to think about it, I'm going to decide what's to be done with the situation. So here you say, you intelligently do it. Strive for. So that what I do today, I have to even think how it's going to affect my future. No, there is an African proverb. It says, what you do today, think of the consequences of your action, how it's going to affect the next 7 generations. Not just the next generation. Today, I think human beings, the way they are moving, they're not even thinking of 2 years ahead, 20 years ahead. What about next generation? As that Japanese author said, we are all in a bus going to doomsday, like, the bus is going to have an accident. But what are we doing? We are all fighting for the window seat. Makes no sense because each one of us is grabbing our seat. The entire bus is going to take a plunge, but we are not thinking about it. If an individual and if more individuals do, the same thing reflects in the collective. Why we keep on blaming? Why is our society this way? Somewhere we are responsible because each one of us makes up for that society. Isn't it? So not only do our actions impact what we are, who we are, but it also impacts the society at large. So here, whatever we are born with, what is given to us in the past is what we call our destiny. But what we are going to do, how we are going to think and act from today is our purushartha. It's a free will. God is saying you're free to do what you want, but you're not exercising. And even if it's exercised, it should be exercised in wisdom, in knowing what is the right path. And we must seek to know that. Isn't it? In short, according to the Upanishads, entire science of the self, the rishis concluded their intelligent investigations and declared a soul-satisfying philosophy of life. They declare what you meet in life is destiny, and how you meet them is freedom. Pause and think, please. Thus, looking against our past, we are now helpless victims of our past actions. But looking ahead of us, We become the architect of our own future. Human as we are, let us never look back for a moment, but dynamically march forward, creating a glorious future of magnificent achievements by rightly exercising the independent self-effort which is man's prerogative. Isn't it? No other animal or bird is interested in this. It's just going to physically mature, give birth to its own kind, and that's met its purpose of life. There is nothing else. The buffalo doesn't go around saying, who am I? What is my purpose in life? Right? But with the human being, yes, why am I acting this way? What am I going to create for my future? Intelligent being, self-conscious. So now we come to chapter 3. Intellectual honesty, satyam. Behind every achievement that we see in this world today is the unseen hand of the human will. The material comforts, scientific achievements are all products crystallized out of the human will and determination. The human willpower has conquered nature and made her a slave for the welfare of mankind. And in the process, has even created things which were not even available in the world before. Behind all the technological progress are the determined efforts of hundreds of dedicated men and women who faced all the challenges to make their dreams come true. Many of what we see today as solid facts of life and proof of man's achievements were only mere ideas yesterday in the minds of a few men of great willpower. Those ideas would not have become realities had they not the will and determination to put their ideas into practice. Our scriptures too have given us examples of men of great will, like Vishwamitra, who could even create a new world out of his sheer power of willing. All men of achievement had the blessing of tremendous willpower in their makeup, and history is full of names of such men of achievements. When they make up their mind, it is like the sankalpa that they will achieve it. Determination and will that they have. It must have just been an idea. I mean, think about it. When somebody must have thought how good it would be if I speak from here and, my relative who's staying far away can hear me. Maybe it came out of missing that relative. I would love to hear my mother's voice. I'm far away from home. An idea. And then this idea, somebody worked upon it. And then this phone came about where one spoke and the other heard. And even at that time, it would not have been in that scientist's mind, in that inventor's mind, that sometime everyone will have a mobile phone in their hands and speak to anyone they want to at any given point of view. Isn't it? It seems when they thought about the computer was invented, it was a big piece of machine, as big as a room, 10 by 10 or more than that. Big piece. And they were so happy with what they had invented. They said 8 such machines in the world is enough. It will take care of so much work. Even then, they would not have thought that each person would be having a computer in their hands. Today it is happening. It's a possibility. In the collective, this is what is possible. If you will it with determination, we can achieve it. This kind of a thing has not happened anywhere else, isn't it? Among any other being in nature. They cannot look around and call, oh, the population of elephants is coming down. Our population is dwindling. Let's do something about it. They cannot do that. But we have managed to do this intelligence that is there, and the will. The will to face up to the challenges that one comes across in the world is born out of one's own courage of conviction. Every one of us has ideas of our own, but only a few of us live up to them. At the mere suggestion of a challenge to these ideals, we readily tend to fall a victim to it and become ready to compromise with our ideas. This is dishonest living, asatyam. The lives of all great men point out to us that the basic necessity for the development of a strong will is the ability to live up to the intellectual convictions and to act thereafter in terms of that knowledge. Satyam, truthfulness, is the spirit to honestly live our intellectual convictions within. Indeed, it is therefore a value of life to be lived at our intellectual level. The human intellect alone can keep up certain fundamental values or ideals in its understanding and act up to them. When that ideal is broken with our own weakness, when we thus compromise, it becomes dishonest, asatyam. The intellect compromising with its own is about a split personality in the dishonest person. Such a person becomes a coward when faced with the challenges of life, for he has not the courage born out of his unshakable intellectual conviction, which alone can provide the willpower to act and achieve in the face of challenge. So this is important. To live up to, in fact, this conviction in the ideal itself, and to live up involves effort, involves sacrifice, but it is the value worth pursuing and continuing. The secret of success in life lies in keeping the head above the storms of the heart. A successful man never allows his faculty of discrimination and judgment to be disturbed by the rising tides of his mental emotions. When emotions and impulses start dictating our actions, we sink to the level of the animals. To mold one's destiny is the privilege of the man of cultivated will and not of the animals of natural unique impulses. At the intellectual level, one must be ready to consider and reconsider for 1,000 times, if necessary, any idea or ideal, and in the light of all the evidences available, one must be ready to accept or reject an idea or an. But having once accepted an ideal, one must discover in himself the heroism to live up to it always. This is called honesty or truthfulness, satyam. This is the spring source of the will and courage to act and achieve. Now see, truthfulness, satyam. What is the definition? And what we popularly understand. Read it again. It's important. So when we ask ourselves, am I truthful? Am I honest? We are able to live. We have these convictions that we are able to live up to it. We are honest. Living up to your convictions. First of all, discriminating between whether this ideal with all the evidences, and like Gurudev says, consider and reconsider an ideal before accepting it. And if you have accepted it, then live up to it. And if you're living up to it, that is truthful. This is the definition of Satya. And if we have compromised with that somewhere, then we must at least admit to ourselves that I've been dishonest here. We must have the courage. That's why Pujya Guruji, Dayananji always says, honesty and courage are two qualities required for a spiritual seeker. He has to master his mind, he has to be honest, and he has to have the courage to go. The most important trait in an eminently successful man's life seems to be integrity. An inflexible, undaunted, firm integrity. Yeah. And also, it seems, everyone who has cultivated this trait has drawn from it many an unseen and personal advantage over others who are striving in the same field of achievement. Once an individual in himself has discovered and fully developed an indomitable integrity, he finds he is master of every challenge. And in all his efforts, we observe a self-assurance which is both captivating and rewarding. Indeed, very few have it, and there are many who are not charmed by it. A man of integrity is accepted, believed, trusted, and befriended by all. To attract to oneself such genuine attitudes from others is to create and assure a vibrant environment for great undertakings and perhaps with others' ready help, a spectacular success. Truly, integrity is a personal asset to a man in every field. The nobility inherent in integrity is rooted deeply in the quality and beauty of one's intentions. If the spring of our thoughts is pure, and if we have the heroism to live unfailingly the great ideals in ourselves, however impractical and utopian they may be, even in spite of all immediate failures, we still have cultivated integrity and perhaps succeeded miraculously. The personality in us thereafter, with a glowing poise, unfolds, and at each apparent failure, with each insurmountable obstacle met, in each moment of social criticism faced, and from all empty laughter of spiteless ridicule endured, we come to steel our nobility and reinforce our determination to live the honorable life, consistent with our ideal and our goal. So see, when all of this obstacles are there around us, and yet we are able to live up to our ideals, and we are going to face them. These challenges will be there. Initially, people might even say, why do you have to do all this? Why do you have to be this way when the whole world is this way? After that, when you have done it, you have succeeded, they will say, how did you do it? So wonderful. So it's always like this. Social criticism might be there, you might be ridiculed. But a person with such integrity, it's because he is a person of integrity. His body, mind, his intellect, everything is in the same place. There is no division. What he is thinking is what he speaks. What he's thinking is what he does. Yeah? Some of us, we say something when we do something else. We are thinking something, but we say something else. And what happens is when you're thinking something and you say something and you do something else altogether, are you trusted? This person ना बोलता कुछ है, कुछ करता अपना कुछ और. Can't trust him. This is the first very, very common, isn't it? But a person who is willing to stand and he is very clear in his mind, ये करना है और ये मैं करने वाला, बोलता भी है, करता भी है. Then what happens? अरे, great. He has earned the credit because he's a person of integrity. That's why we must never allow ourselves to be split within. Disintegrated personality हो जाते हैं. अरे, I wanted to say that, but I didn't. I wanted to do that, but I didn't do. I now regret. I should have. This must be reduced. As much as possible, we should see that this doesn't happen. Therefore, vigilance is required. You have to be alert, conscious. Every word spoken. Was it required? Is it the correct? Is this action correct? Not correct? Is this the time right now to do it? Everything. And only with practice and effort will it come. See, it's not just going to come because you have read about it. One has to act. The personality in us is thereafter with a glowing poise unfolds. And at each apparent failure, with each insurmountable obstacle met, in each moment of social criticism, we read this, faced and from all empty laughter of fightless ridicule endured, we come to steal our nobility and reinforce our determination to live the honorable life consistent with our ideal and our goal. Such individuals alone are the evolvers. All others are mere adapters. So do you want to evolve or simply adapt? At every turn, compromising with circumstances and ever struggling to readjust to the changing patterns of the challenge. They may struggle on as helpless slaves to their habits, but never can they come to dominate the outer field and command the world to march to the appointed goal, chosen by their own vision and will. Only a person of integrity has this power over life and its happenings. Naturally, then, integrity is the essential secret of an eminently successful life. This cannot be denied. You just pick up the, according to you, whatever you consider is being successful. It may not be a spiritual success only. Anybody whom you think, he could be a cricketer, he could be a film star, he could be anybody in any field, musician. You will find him this integrity. He will be an integrated personality. Without that, you cannot achieve. He may have sacrificed something. You may not agree with his ideals. He may have his own ideals. But he's been truthful by holding to that conviction. And he has acted. He thought, he expressed himself, and he acted also, physically, mentally, as well as intellectually. He is in one line, aligned. His physical self, the body, his emotional self, and his intellectual self are finely integrated, aligned. And in this alignment, there is speed, there is direction, there is success, not otherwise. Many of us have the desire to do some things, but not the will to live up to it. So, this is very important. But for now, we will stop here today. I don't want to start with the next topic that he goes of of life of self-control, brahmacharya. So what Gurudev talks as brahmacharya, the meaning of it, let us understand. And it's a nice topic which we will be getting into. And so we will read about this in the next class. We are almost done. Shall we conclude here? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.